Throughout human history, there have been many prophets whose words have come true in astonishing ways, sometimes years or even centuries later. Some may attribute this to mysticism or a divine voice, but often it is the result of thoughtful analysis and accurate forecasting. This is especially true when it comes to modern-day prophets. One such person was Boris Nemtsov, a Russian opposition figure and a personal enemy of Putin.
Our task is to make our beloved motherland free and democratic, a successful country. Glory to free Russia. Down with the thieving government! Down with the thieving government!
Nemtsov was demonstratively killed right outside the Kremlin walls. And it's symbolic that this happened just 3 hours after his broadcast, on Echo of Moscow, where Putin was accused of starting the war in eastern Ukraine. It was February 2015, 7 years before the full-scale invasion.
As for Ukraine specifically, he is taking revenge on you for the anti-criminal revolution, for the fact that you kicked the crook out of the presidential chair, and he cannot allow the same thing to happen to him. Second, he is taking revenge on you for your European choice. That is why, of course, he wishes you harm. But of course, he will not accept this and will wait for the right moment to come up with some new nasty trick. What kind, I don't know yet.
I have made the decision to conduct a special military operation.
Before his death, Nemtsov made a whole series of astonishing and accurate predictions about Russia, its leadership, and its people. So far, everything Boris predicted is coming true.
The continuation of the war with Ukraine, a catastrophe for Russia. It's not just about the dead, whom no one will remember, since it is forbidden to talk about them. You see, it's a nightmare, it's isolation, it's Russia being thrown who knows where. But at the same time, the person says, I did everything right, I never made mistakes, we are always right, we are the strongest because we are right. But it's impossible to listen to all of this.
We do not consider ourselves responsible for the deaths of people because we did not start this war. This war was started after the coup d'etat in Ukraine.
We have chosen the most significant prophecies of Boris Nemtsov to show what awaits the Russian Reich in the future. Nemtsov claimed that Russia would not stop at Crimea and Donbass, but would continue its military expansion further. Moreover, the lack of an adequate response from the civilized world to the annexation of part of Ukraine finally convinced the Kremlin that the era of wars of conquest had returned.
Russia is occupying neighboring territories. That is the tradition, you know, that everything in the surrounding area must be seized and taken, even if you have no use or need for it at all.
And that's exactly what happened. The so-called special military operation, which is masked by slogans about protecting Donbass and Russian speakers, instantly turned into an ordinary war of conquest. Russia not only occupied these territories, it annexed them in the same way it did with Crimea.
Today we are signing agreements on the admission into the Russian Federation of the Donetsk People's Republic, the Luhansk People's Republic, Zaporizhia region, and Kherson region.
Since World War II and the Nuremberg trials, this has happened in the world for the first time. The Americans, even while controlling Afghanistan and Iraq, did not incorporate them into the US Constitution. NATO bombed Yugoslavia, but did not annex Belgrade to Brussels. Nemtsov accurately predicted that it would be Russia that would cross this red line.
This tradition that rising from our knees necessarily means having to kill someone, to kill and to seize territory.
Nemtsov argued that the longer the Putin regime stays in power, the more isolated Russia will become from the rest of the world. The West wants nothing to do with a barbarized Moscow, and the Kremlin itself will start tightening the screws, fearing internal unrest.
A blow to Putinism is, without a doubt, isolation. He just thinks that the West will never dare to do this. International isolation, meaning Russia's exclusion from the G8, major problems between the European Union and Russia. Therefore, obviously, there will be sanctions. It is obvious that when Russia is surrounded by enemies inside the country, reactionary forces and xenophobia will intensify, meaning hatred towards all other citizens of the planet. And authoritarian, dictatorial tendencies will also grow stronger.
Everything is happening exactly as Nemtsov said. Slowly but already inevitably, Russia is being pushed out of the civilized world. A record number of sanctions in history have been imposed on it. Russians are hated all over the world. The Russian flag has become a red rag.
With every khachapuri you eat, remember the women killed in Ukraine. And with every kinkali and every meal, remember the Ukrainian children who were killed. You are a blood-stained nation, its representatives, and you wear the symbols of a blood-stained nation. You are the disgrace of this land. Everyone is sick and tired of you. The Poles, the Finns, and us, the Georgians. Everywhere there are Russians, there is always blood. And you wear Russian symbols. Those are blood-stained symbols. That two-headed chicken. And that flag. It's incomprehensible.
Russia is a pariah state, and its closest allies are North Korea and Iran. Just think about that. The situation in the swamps themselves is even worse. The Kremlin is gradually closing the window to the outside world for Russians. The first step is blocking social networks and messengers. Telegram, WhatsApp, slowing down YouTube. Replacing the internet with the Shebernay.
Information security is one of the main aspects of the struggle between us and the NATO countries. So here we probably won't be able to do it any other way. I understand that this causes inconvenience for many people, myself included, because I have my own Telegram channel that people read. But nevertheless, the times demand it, and there are threats related to information security.
Who exactly is responsible for creating these new Telegram accounts? Go to the front lines, to the special military operation. The guys who are shedding blood, their only connection with their loved ones is through this. What are you doing, idiots?
The next step will most likely be a complete ban on leaving the country. This already happened in the USSR, where you needed a visa to leave, not to enter. Another one of Nemtsov's 100% accurate predictions is the loss of Russia's sovereignty. Nemtsov claimed that either Russia would become part of civilized Europe, or it would become a vassal and a raw materials appendage of China.
Either under the current leadership, we become a raw materials appendage of China, or a unique European civilization that maintains good neighborly relations, both in the East and in the West.
As they say, no further comment is necessary. Russia is already, in fact, a province of China today, and not even the most important or wealthy one. Beijing is pursuing an openly colonial policy in Russia, according to the principle of drain and discard, or trading valuable resources from the natives for cheap trinkets.
Most of you are well aware of what is happening to the Siberian forests when the Chinese either lease them for 49 years or acquire them through Russian intermediaries under their control. They set up companies to destroy the taiga, clear-cutting everything so that only stumps remain across hundreds and thousands of hectares. Then this timber is transported to China.
The always clear waters of the Zhivkoshi River have turned into murky sludge.
As it turned out, prospectors came to these areas located at the borders of the Karimsky, Nerchinsky, and Tunga-Kochinsky districts and began intense activity.
Video recording is being used. Who are you here? On what grounds are you here? What's your last name? Do you have any documents?
I am nobody.
You're nobody? Question. So, is it you? Yes, they came to see you.
And Moscow, in the person of Putin's best friend, Sekin, openly admits this. It's their dream to become a raw materials appendage for the Chinese.
Because sometimes he says things that seem completely absurd to many people, as if just said for effect. And then a decade passes, and it turns out that the entire political course of the country was built precisely around those words said for effect.
Putin has made Russia completely dependent on China. Politically, economically, and militarily. Moscow sells resources at huge discounts and buys goods from China at extremely inflated prices. According to the Beaufort report, the average price Russia paid for Chinese exports increased by 87%. The cost especially rose for goods that are critically important to Russia's weapons sector. Moreover, for other countries, the prices are 10 times lower. Beijing is a monopoly both in exports and imports, which means the Kremlin no longer has a say in the matter.
China is a huge country, a huge economy. China's population is about 10 times larger than Russia's. 1.5 billion people, a little less. China's economy is 6 times larger than Russia's. Despite the peaceful and quiet policy that China pursues, if you don't count Taiwan, of course, right? Despite this, They will inevitably have to somehow draw those Russian resources toward themselves.
The most important prophecy of Nemtsov has already affected millions of Russians. 10 years ago, the opposition politician was shouting at the top of his lungs, warning the loyal population that war is neither greatness nor cheerful. We can repeat it. War will bury Russia under black body bags with Cargo 200. I
am against the war. I don't want Cargo 200 to come here to us in Moscow, in Yaroslavl, in Nizhny Novgorod. I don't want our mothers, our wives, and our children to cry. I don't want this.
But the brainwashed and stuffed population believed the television, that war is romantic and entertaining. As a result, Nemtsov's worst prediction can now be seen in every Russian city, in cemeteries and memorials. There aren't enough places for the fallen occupiers. Even that very propaganda no longer denies that the losses are catastrophic and Russians should already be listed in the Red Book.
Let's try to calculate what losses our armed forces have suffered to date. Approximately 820,000 people, give or take. That is, these are the losses our army has suffered during this time.
Horrifying footage. Fields literally strewn with the corpses of servicemen.
Unfortunately, we have a completely exploitative attitude toward the infantry.
We're simply being destroyed. They just decided to wipe us out.
They just decided to wipe us out. They don't want to treat us, they just decided to kill everyone at once.
And as a final touch, a prediction that hasn't come true yet, but it's already obvious that it will in the near future. Nemtsov warned that the annexation of foreign territories and confrontation with the West would inevitably lead to the collapse of Russia itself.
This example with Crimea could bring about the collapse of Russia. Specifically, it will look like this. Why is it that if Crimea can hold a referendum, then why can't Chechnya hold a referendum on seceding from Russia? Why can't Dagestan hold a referendum on seceding from Russia? Why can't Tatarstan do the same? Why can't Siberia and the Far East join Japan or China? Don't you understand? I'm defending Russia's interests. In this case, I believe that the precedent being set there, with all the arguments you present about wanting to be with Russia and so on, this precedent is mortally dangerous for my country.
That's exactly where things are heading. The peoples of Russia are speaking out more and more loudly about their right to freedom. The regions were never particularly eager to support Moscow, but now Moscow itself has given them the green light to fight for independence. Nemtsov's words that if Putin remains in power, there will be no Russia turned out to be prophetic.
I want to remind you that this video was created for entertainment purposes and contains elements of satire and irony. All facts and events are presented in a hyperbolized or exaggerated manner to convey a comedic or dramatic effect. We do not aim to mislead, we are simply doing this. The focus is on humor. Please take this with a smile.